Hi, this is Matthew Robert Payne. I'm the writer. I've written 215 self-published Christian books on Amazon, and I have about 6,000 videos here on my YouTube channel. Perhaps you can check out my books, or perhaps you can subscribe to my channel if you find this teaching exciting and something that teaches you something. This is part of a playlist called the Mystery of the Parables playlist or something like that on my the Hidden Mystery of the Parables playlist is the playlist, and I'm going to cover the 54 parables of Jesus in an updated version of preached, I've produced and published 4 books on the parables with more and more revelation on the parables, and the Holy Spirit has led me to teach through the parables again, and they'll be all available on the Hidden Mystery of the Parables playlist. They won't be published into a book. They'll just be videos on the playlist that you can work your way through. So I have a special friend from heaven, uh, one of the cloud of witnesses that are working in my life, that Hebrews 12 talks about how we can interact with the cloud of witnesses. And her name's Tiffany, and she works like the Holy Spirit, giving me the very words to say. So I have no idea what the next sentence I'm going to speak is, and I only get that sentence popped into my mind by Tiffany. And I used to speak under the inspiration of the Holy Spirit, but now Tiffany in heaven gives me these words, and she's researched these parables, and this is my third one today, and they've all got a hidden mystery to them. I've received more revelation on each of them today, and they've been exciting to teach. So this is the parable of the Good Samaritan, and I'm sure if you've been part of a church for 20 or 30 years, or even 5 or 10 years, you will have heard a preacher preach on this parable. Not entirely sure that you've really heard the truth of the mystery of this parable, and I hope by the end of this video you will have seen or come across or experienced new insight into this video, and you're able to make the necessary adjustments to your life based on what is said. I just want to warn you that when I turn on the video, I get itchy back, I get itchy nose, I get itchy face, and so I hope you're not distracted by all my itching and the unprofessionalism of that. Hope it doesn't take away from the message. So, for those who need reminding, the parable of the Good Samaritan talks about a guy traveling from one place to another in Israel, and apparently the track that he was traveling from, this road was a narrow road, and in order to cross on the other side of the road, you pretty much had to really move across. It was really hard to get down that road without, like, 2 cars couldn't go down that road. It was so tight. And so this guy was traveling down this road with his donkey, donkeys were often used to carry loads and possessions, and the person often walked just leading their donkey. And he was walking down this road and he saw this person beaten up on the side of the road. Apparently, robbers and thieves used to hide in bushes and raid people walking down the road and steal things from them. And because it was dark and out of the way sort of place with no protection and no people around, uh, traveling in those days was scary and dangerous without a group, and many people in those days travelled in groups for safety. But this person that was caught beaten up on the side of the road had been caught by a robber, and the robber had not only taken his gold and taken his possessions, but had given him a severe beating. So this guy, this Samaritan, came across this person, but before that happened, there was a rabbi, and rabbis were important people in Israel, pretty holy. And the rabbi went past this guy and uh, he crossed on the other side of the road. In other words, he would have had to make, that's what I was told in another teaching, he would have had to make a real effort to sidestep around this guy. There wasn't much room on the road. And he crossed on the other side of the road because he didn't want to get involved in this person's tragedy. He didn't want to hear this person cry out to him and feel obligated to help him. He had other things on his mind. He had a business uh, going down the road, and his mind was on other things, and he didn't want to get distracted by this broken-hearted person who'd been beaten up. So he crossed on the other side of the road and ignored him, pretended he wasn't there. And another person also, um, uh, 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 I think he was a person from a Levite, from the special tribe of rabbis, and he went past and crossed on the other side of the road, and once again pretended that the person wasn't there. And then came the Samaritan with his donkey, and he saw the guy beaten up on the side of the road, and he had compassion on him. And that's a vital word. He had compassion. Um, the whole three of them saw him. The whole three of them knew he was in a dire position, was in need of help, in need of repair. But the Samaritan man was the only one who wasn't too busy to stop himself and have compassion. And he not only bent down and applied liquor and applied material to his wounds, but he grabbed the guy and put the guy over his donkey and took the guy to an inn and gave him a bed to recuperate and put alcohol on him and tried to address his wounds. He had to travel to another city. He had business to do, so he was busy like the other guys too, but he had compassion and made a way in his life, distracted himself, and helped. And he told the innkeeper, gave him some money to look after the guy and come in and feed him and look after him while he was gone, and he said, "Here's some money now, but if I come back and it's cost you more, I'll pay you then." So he basically rescued this guy and was the solution to this guy, and was going to provide a way for this guy to recover from his wounds and recover from the injuries and get back on his feet. And he fully financed that and was prepared to finance that. So Jesus said, who was uh, the neighbor? A Jewish guy asked Jesus, who is my neighbor? Because you had to love your neighbor. And the Jewish guy was, it's said in the law to love your neighbor, but the Jewish guy wanted to get out of loving his neighbor. He wanted neighbor defined. So he could understand the parable and understand the commandment. And Jesus, as a rabbi, said, "Well, here's a parable," and he talked about how the Samaritan was the neighbor, and uh, and when you're a neighbor, that's how you love your neighbor. And he also shared that, well, he identified that Samaritans, well, known by Jews at that time, Samaritans were a half-breed people in Samaria bred with Jews years ago, and their progeny, their children were half breeds, so half Jewish or a third Jewish or a quarter Jewish, depending on how many generations had happened. The Samaritans used to be Jews, but because they weren't 100% Jew and pure Jewish, they were rejected and caught as termed as vermin and scum by Jews. So, interestingly enough, Jesus said the Good Samaritan was the neighbor, and he was identifying that your neighbor isn't necessarily someone you accept or someone accepted by the law. Your neighbor is just another person. So Jesus shared that parable to tell the person inquiring that if 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 a person is a person, they're your neighbor. It's not specifically a Jew, and that's very interesting because we often choose as Christians only to help Christians and only to be friends with Christians, and we're very much like Jews. In that way, we really only accept our own people. So Jesus was saying that someone who was despised was the actual neighbor to the person. So let's have a look at the mystery of that parable, because I know personally, from my experience as a Christian, dealing with other Christians, I know personally not many Christians understand the meaning of this parable. For instance, how many times have you walked down a city street and seen someone beaten up by the side of the road with wounds that needs to go to hospital? I've only ever witnessed one person hurt in my past, and someone rang an ambulance, and an ambulance arrived. A guy had been in a fight and was injured, and the ambulance took the person away. But that's only one time in my life have I seen a person beaten up. So who are these beaten up people that we have to love our neighbour and have compassion on them? Who are they? Well, one, it's not the only one. There probably are other ones that could be identified, but one that you don't realise is someone who's been beaten up by the side of the road is a homeless person that you walk past as begging with a sign or asking for money. They've they haven't been beaten up by a robber on a lonely road. They haven't been walking down a road and a robber has robbed all their money and beaten them up and left them wounded. But they have been walking down the road of life and they have been beaten up by life. Many homeless people have got drug addictions or drinking addictions or mentally ill. You have to wonder what sort of condition that you could allow yourself to get into where you didn't live in an actual house, that you didn't go home to sleep under cover. What makes you sleep under a bridge or sleep under a building's awning? What brings you to a state of life where you spend boring days with a cup, with a sign, begging people for money? What puts you in a position where you don't have a house, you don't have a change of clothes, you don't have possessions, you don't live a normal life, and you don't even have a life like anyone else, that you're an outcast, that you're a reject. You're someone that people just walks past every day and ignores. And who is the Levite and who is the rabbi that walk past on the other side of the road? Who do they represent in the parable? They represent you. They are you. You're not the Good Samaritan in many cases. You're the rabbi and the Levite. Unless you walk down the road and personally acknowledge homeless people with a smile on the face and a wave and a greeting, unless you stop regularly to homeless people and give them money or give them food or give them a drink, you're the rabbi and the Levite. You know, homeless people can be annoying. You can not be want to be addressed by them. You can not want them to ask you for money and feel the conviction and the guilt of not giving them any money and not being compassionate on them. So you avoid them, you don't look in their eye, you pretend that they're not there. You're exactly like the Levite and the rabbi. People don't really cross the road to the other side of the street these days, like it says in the parable, but you definitely don't look at them. You definitely don't meet them in the eye. You definitely don't wave at them and acknowledge them. I read a article. I saw an article years ago of a person who'd spent time with homeless people, and they'd written an article about how the homeless are the unseen, and the article went on to say the thing that makes homeless people suffer more than anything else isn't the fact that they've got no place to live, isn't the fact that they've got to collect money, isn't the fact that they've got no money and they find it hard to support themselves. It's the fact that people don't look them in the eye. It's the fact that people don't acknowledge them. It's the fact that people walk past them every day and they feel invisible. They feel people aren't even looking at them, aren't even acknowledging them. And the homeless people start to feel this insecurity that they're not worthwhile, They're not a human. They're not even accepted to be a living individual. That they're somehow so rejected. They're so unclean. They're so useless. The people won't even acknowledge that they're there. They feel like they're unseen. They feel invisible. And that's what the priests and the Levites do. They ignore them. So how could you change? How could you change and become a Samaritan? How could you become the Good Samaritan? How could you reach a stage of repentance, change your ways, and change your lifestyle so you're no longer a rabbi or a Levite? What do I suggest in covering this mystery of the Good Samaritan? What's different about what I have to say? I have a homeless guy. I'm not sure if he lives in a house, but he regularly begs for money outside of the shopping centre I go to all the time. I go to like a Westfield, like a shopping complex, catch a bus, and it's just around the corner from the bus stop, and I walk to the shopping centre. And most of the time outside the shopping centre, this guy is sitting and he just sits there all day greeting people and collecting money. And I'm not sure he collects too much money in a day. And I'm not sure what makes him so desperate that he'd sit there all day to collect money, but he's my friend. Every time I see him, I stop, I acknowledge him, I have a short conversation with him. He knows that I don't carry cash in my wallet. He knows that I pay everything by credit card. I've come out with food and I've given him a drink before. From time to time, as the Holy Spirit has impressed it upon me, I've gone to a bank teller and withdrawn $20 and given it to him. About 3 times I've given him $20 from a bank teller. That's the least you can withdraw from one of those tellers. A number of times I've had a $5 note or a $10 note in my wallet. I've been caught with money for some reason I needed cash and I spent cash on something and I've had $10 left in my wallet. If I've ever got 10 or $5 left in my wallet, he always gets it. And he knows that I love him regardless. He knows that if I had $2 coins or $1 coins in my wallet all the time, I'd always be giving them to him. But the most important thing he loves about me is because I stop and talk to him, I acknowledge him, and he's my friend. And he's a Christian, and he, when I finish talking to him, he says, "God bless you," and he loves me and I love him, and he's told me before that it really means a lot to him that I stop and I talk to him. And from time to time I've walked past him busy and distracted, and he's called out to me. He says hello, and it's sort of been a little bit of a rebuke, and it's stopped me in my tracks, and I've stopped and said hello to him. I know that he loves me because he says hello in those times. He could just accept that I'm busy and I hadn't seen him that day and just let me go, but he loves me so much that he won't let me be distracted and walk past him without greeting him and without saying hello. And you can't, many people, I've been homeless myself, so I've got a lot of compassion on homeless. And there's a lot of homeless people consider themselves really free. Many homeless people, they end up on the street for some reason. They lose a job or lose an income source or lose a pension, or there's some sort of tragedy that has them end up living on the streets. And you got to be pretty desperate to end up on the streets. But a lot of them become used to begging and used to living on free food from homeless shelters and stuff, and going to charity for food. A lot of them develop a lifestyle, how to live without money. And many of them, if you ask them to come home to your place and live at your place, many of them would resist that because they'd lose their freedom and they wouldn't want to start conforming to society again. So, in order to be this Good Samaritan and take them off the street and address their spiritual and emotional needs, that wounds that cause them to drink and cause them to be addicted to drugs and cause them to spend all their money on drugs and alcohol rather than spending money on bills and accommodation. They need help in order to uh, get them off the street. You'd have to develop a good relationship with them. So the Good Samaritan parable isn't always about you picking that person up, putting that person on your donkey and taking them to an inn. It's not about fixing their wounds and addressing their wounds and paying for them to stay until they've recovered for a couple of days. But it is about addressing their wounds and ministering to their hurts and ministering to their pain. If you stop and talk to a homeless person, you can encourage them. You might not be in a city. You may be in a country town. You may be in a place that doesn't have a homeless person that you can minister to and give the time of day to and buy food for and buy drinks for and give money to and become their friend and talk to them. You may not have a homeless person that you can be the friend of and encourage and have 5-minute chats to every time you see. But you may have like a girl that I know to a bar I go twice a week. You may have a girl there that's a confessing Christian, but she's a practicing lesbian and she lives with a partner. And you may not be able to reconcile how could someone believe in Jesus but have a lesbian girlfriend, have a lesbian partner. It's not up to you to save that girl. I believe a practicing lesbian can go to heaven if they practice the sheep and the goats parable. But you can look up the sheep and the goats parable in my teachings on this playlist if you want to know who goes to heaven. But you can be the Good Samaritan by just loving that girl. She's very aware that I'm a Christian. She's very aware that I write Christian books. She's very aware that I do Christian videos. She's someone I've become a friend. She's the manager in the bar. And I talk to her and encourage her. I tell her that she's really pretty. I tell her that she's my favourite person in the bar. She's moving away in 3 months' time to another state in Australia. I won't be able to see her anymore. And yesterday, when I was at the bar, I asked her if me and my carer can take her out for lunch before she leaves and have a lunch date with her and just have a conversation with her and say goodbye. And she said she'd love that, and she'll tell me the time that she can do that. Whenever you meet a person who's suffering, and a lesbian is a person who's suffered, and there's a reason why she's trusting females with her love rather than trusting males, and there's always underlying hurt in homosexual relationships, and besides that, I'm not judging her, putting her in a category, but everyone's hurting. Whenever you come across someone that's hurting, you're listening to them. You're being a friend to them. You're being a loving and compassionate person to them. You're giving those people the time of day, giving them the opportunity to speak, giving them a voice, letting them know that you're aware of their sin life, you're aware of their lifestyle, and her knowing, this lady knowing that I'm a passionate Christian, and her knowing that I am a passionate Christian, but I totally accept her, and I totally know that she's living with a partner and she's got a girlfriend. And for her to get no judgment or condemnation of me or feel no guilt the way I talk to her, the way that I totally love her and embrace her and always say hello to her and always practice having a conversation with her, making her feel loved and accepted and appreciated every time I speak to her. That touches wounds. That's like me having some alcohol and addressing her wounds. That's like me putting her on my donkey and taking her to a safe place. Oftentimes, you'll meet people who are suffering, that's had a hard life. You may meet a person who's lonely. Have you ever met a person who, when you talk to them, they just talk and talk and talk, and you try and respond to what they say, and they don't even listen to what you say. When you finish saying it, they continue with what they were saying. You can respond and give an answer to something they've been saying. They don't even listen to the answer. They're so interested in getting the next words out. Those people who are like that are hard to talk to, hard to have a two-way relationship with. But those people are desperately lonely people, and they don't get to speak, and no one gives them the time of day. You can just have one person like that in your life and just listen to them. I had a person like that I let talk like that about 10 times. Then after the 10th time, I said to them, I said, I know that you must be lonely, and I know that you like to talk, but if we're going to continue our friendship, uh, you need to be able to respond to what I say. You need to be able to let me talk and say something and respond to it. Because the way you're treating me is very selfish and very one-sided. And I want to be your friend, but I want to be able to say something too. Can we agree that when I say something, you actually make a response to what I say from now on? Or do you have to continue talking all the time and never giving me the opportunity to speak? I did that after the 10th time of listening for an hour, and they changed. They started to let me talk. And the bar I go to with the waitress has got a guy who had a brain aneurysm and seriously got affected 10 years ago. And he had a friend in the bar that used to always be in the bar. And his friend doesn't come anymore. It doesn't like coming. And when we go there on a Thursday, He's always there alone at the bar, reading a paper. And when me and my carer arrive, we invite him over to our table, and he spends 2 hours with us talking. And he used to be the person that just talked and talked and talked and didn't really listen when you said something or pay attention or give any sign that he heard what you said. And without me saying something, he's changed. And now when I want to say something, he listens and he comments on what I say. It's just the application of listening and compassion and love. He's constantly telling me, you've probably heard me say this before, and continued with repeating a story. And because he had the brain injury, he can't remember if he's told a story again. And he keeps on repeating the same story, but he's so exciting to listen to. He's so interesting to listen to. His stories are so enjoyable that you can hear them the third and fourth or 10th time, and they're still enjoyable. I've reassured him many times that it doesn't matter to me if he repeats himself. I enjoy his company and I love him. Every time we meet, he says to me that he so appreciates me, that I'm a really nice person to know and I'm really interesting to listen to, and he really enjoys his time with me. What does that cost me? I'm here with my carer. My carers take me out 3 days a week. What what does it cost me to spend my 3 hours with my carer, just with her talking or with him as a guest at our table? Doesn't cost me anything. 2 weeks ago, I went there and he wasn't there. And I was sad because uh, he wasn't there and didn't have his company. And me and my carer talked for 3 hours that day, and I had a good day, but it wasn't as special because he wasn't there. And yesterday he was there and he really enjoyed himself again. So you can be the Good Samaritan in two ways. If you've got a homeless person in your city, start to stop and have a conversation with them. You don't have to give them money. Tell them why you haven't got money. Go and get some money and give them some money. But you don't have to give them money. Just acknowledge them. Be a friend to them. Ask them why they're homeless. Ask them why they don't get back into lifestyle. What's happening with their money? Ask them questions. They don't mind answering questions. Be a friend. When you come across people who are broken, and let's face it, I've talked a couple of times about my carers. I've got bipolar, I've got mental illness, I've got health problems. The government gives me two carers that come in 3 times a week to look after me. The government program pays for it. So everyone's got issues. Everyone's got problems. Everyone's got things wrong with them. Even the most put together person, the nice dresser, the person with the nice house, the person with a nice wristwatch and fashionable clothes, even they can do with a friend. Even those people could do with someone listening to them and asking them good questions, someone to have compassion. So many people in this world aren't seen. They're lonely. Some people can be married with children, with plenty of friends, but be lonely. So many people in this world travel and aren't seen. No one truly understands them. No one truly cares for them. No one truly listens to them. No one is truly interested in them and how they feel. You can be the Good Samaritan all over the place and heal people's wounds and be loving. And I have to say that I'm so intimate with Jesus. I'm so close to Jesus that He's given me His personality, even though I have a mental illness and I'm obese and I've got health problems. I'm a very nice person. I understand that I'm a nice person because the waitress, the manager, said she'd love to go to dinner with me and my carer. She cares about me. She appreciates me. She thinks I'm special enough to take time and make an appointment to go out for lunch. I know I'm special because this guy, Chris, at the bar is always saying how nice I am and how interesting I am and what a nice guy. I know I'm special. I know I'm a beautiful soul. I know I have a lot of love and compassion, and I've got the character of Jesus, and I can be quite interesting. My videos can be quite encouraging to watch, and I've got spiritual insight and spiritual wisdom and understanding, and I can be great to talk to. But you can be a person of compassion. You can be a person of love. You can be like Jesus too. And if you continue to watch the parables of Jesus on the playlist, the hidden mystery of the parables playlist, if you take the time and invest the hours into watch them and put things into practice, you can be like Jesus too and become a good Samaritan. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. If you've got some comments, I'd really welcome your comments. I'd really love to see what you have to say. I'd love to interact with you. So post a comment. If you're going to watch this series of parables because this one interested you, take the time to join YouTube so that you can comment, and I'd love to build a relationship with you. If you found this parable very enlightening and interesting and helpful, uh, take the time to share this parable with your friends on social media. Uh, if you were touched by this interview and you want to watch more videos of mine, please consider subscribing to my channel so you can be notified when I do a new video. God bless you and keep you.